Finally, it's nice and warm outside and we are going to Roosevelt Island today. Carrots, kale, olives, some cooked beans, lemon, salt, and a little bit of oil. Mix it all well and adding some pumpkin seeds. All right, vámonos. A couple of days ago, there was a shooting in New York subway. Few of my friends use that subway line and one of them gets off at the stop where the accident happened. Luckily, she wasn't there that day. Nobody died, but 23 people got injured and many more are mentally traumatized for a very long time. Imagine yourself going to work and then all of a sudden somebody throws smoke canisters at you and opens fire. It's absurd and confusing that someone might want to hurt you without knowing you at all. You are never really safe from these kind of things anywhere in the world, but New York City is very unpredictable when it comes to public safety. Today when I was sitting on this train, every time the doors were closing, my body was ready to get down on the floor if necessary. I felt so tense, tight, and unsafe, and honestly, I could feel the tension in people too. And then I got thinking about 9/11, how devastating it must have been to live in the city where the ashes of 3,000 innocent people were floating in the air. I'm sure that collective trauma still stays with generations. Anyway, let's now talk about Roosevelt Island. This tiny island is located between Manhattan and Queens. Roosevelt Island is an American social experiment with a rich history. To many policymakers, the island seemed like a perfect place for the city to relocate its undesirables, such as people with disabilities, prisoners, the mentally ill, polio or smallpox patients, and many more. First, there was a penitentiary, then numerous mental asylums and hospitals built by the prisoners of the jail. If someone was not functioning as the society wanted them to function, or if someone was contagiously ill, they would just send them to Roosevelt Island. In 1969, to relocate the island with a solid history, the city decided to build a little town on Roosevelt Island for middle-income families. Affordable apartments, river views, and clean streets were offered to the first 5,000 people who arrived here. Finally, I'm in Roosevelt Island. This tram is the famous tram from Spider-Man, the first one, the original one, the best, the classic. The plan is to first reach the southernmost point of the island and then the northernmost. I think they also have a lighthouse there. I'm excited to check it out. I did the exact same thing in Isla Mujeres in Mexico, and I enjoyed it very, very much. So I thought, why don't I repeat it again? I reached the southern part. This is the smallpox hospital that was converted into nursing school later. This is Franklin D. Roosevelt for Freedom State Park. The name comes from his famous speech where he declared 4 freedoms: freedom of speech and expression, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Life must have been so devastating for people who were locked up in that hospital. Let me fix this flower. Because like they already feel bad physically, and they are isolated from the life that's going on in like 100 meters from them, and then they are pretty much hated, and that's horrible. Like, that's so against human rights. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, which paralyzes. Franklin Roosevelt, the guy who was re-elected for 4 times as the US president. That never happens. This is beautiful. This is such a beautiful day. Oh my god. I feel so euphoric and happy. Feels like I'm on drugs or something. Like, can vitamin D be a drug? I don't know. I am smiling to everybody like an idiot. This guy was doing some math equations and he looked up just to think about it, and then all of a sudden he saw my face and I go like and he's like, what? I know New York, I know you don't smile back, but I'm happy. Can happen. Can I share a little linguistic discovery I made yesterday? So I learned that in Spanish, giving a birth is dar a luz, which literally means giving the light. And I think it's really beautiful because when the mother gives a birth, you come out in the light. I think it's really beautiful and poetic. Okay, birds. The reason why it's double interesting to me is that in my language, Georgian, we also have a word that more or less signifies the same thing, coming out in the light, but it means education. So ganatleba in Georgian is education, Natalie is light, and the word suggests that you were not in the light and now you are. And I don't know, man, like these kind of things interest me very, very much. And when I discovered this, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. But honestly, I think Spanish way makes more sense. Nellie Bly was an American journalist and human rights activist who pretended to be mentally ill to get inside the asylum here. That's when she discovered the horrific conditions that people were experiencing in the hospital. She was a pioneer in her field and launched a new kind of investigative journalism. And also she traveled a lot. We could have been friends. This building was the administrative center of the New York City Lunatic Asylum. Hi, how far can I go to? Okay. It's a residential building now, so people actually live there. And it's very interesting that because of the lack of the space in New York City and the real estate, people start living in that kind of places like hospitals and penitentiaries and old asylums. I was gonna stay here and watch the sunset, but with these clouds, it's not happening. It's not the best salad, but definitely the best salad eating experience. Alright loves, I think I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you so much for hanging out. I had a wonderful, beautiful day, and this is actually my last New York vlog, at least this time, because pretty soon I'm going pretty far away across the ocean in another continent, and I'm very excited to share my journeys with you. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Love you. Bye.